2 weeks into the school year at Maryvale High, students and teachers were just beginning to settle into their routines. The air was filled with the usual anticipation and nervous energy that comes with a new academic year. For many, it was a time of fresh starts, new friendships, and the promise of learning and growth. But on what seemed like a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning, the unthinkable happened. The school, usually bustling with laughter and the sounds of lockers slamming, was about to be changed forever by a single tragic event. In a moment that no one could have predicted, a heated argument broke out between two freshman students. What began as a disagreement quickly spiraled out of control, escalating into violence in the blink of an eye. In the chaos, one student grabbed a pair of scissors and fatally stabbed the other, turning a place of learning into a scene of horror. The attack was both sudden and shocking, leaving classmates and teachers frozen in disbelief. The victim, critically injured, lay on the floor as staff and students scrambled to help, desperately trying to make sense of the violence that had just erupted in their midst. The school, a place meant to nurture and protect, was now the backdrop for a tragedy that would haunt everyone who witnessed it. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, their faces grim as they worked to save the young victim's life. Despite their best efforts and the frantic hope of those watching, the student succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Meanwhile, the alleged attacker was quickly taken into custody, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and shattered lives. The incident sent shockwaves through Maryvale High and the surrounding community. The sense of safety that students, parents, and staff once took for granted was suddenly gone, replaced by fear, confusion, and overwhelming grief. Counselors were brought in to help students process the trauma, while teachers struggled to find the right words to comfort their classes. Parents gathered anxiously outside the school, desperate for news and reassurance. Many questioned how such a tragedy could happen in their community, in a place they believed was safe. The question on everyone's mind was painfully simple. How could a simple disagreement end in such devastation? That question now haunts students, parents, and staff alike, as they search for answers and try to make sense of the senseless. For Maryvale, this is not just a headline or a fleeting news story. It's a tragedy that will shape the community for years to come. The loss is deeply personal, and the scars left behind will take time to heal. As the community comes together to mourn, support one another, and seek understanding, the hope is that Maryvale High will one day find a way to move forward, forever changed, but not defined by this heartbreaking event. Immediately after the stabbing, Maryvale High's emergency protocols kicked in. The on-campus safety officer rushed to the scene, providing first aid and detaining the attacker, preventing further harm. The school went into full lockdown. Classrooms fell silent, students huddled in fear, and sirens echoed outside. Police and paramedics arrived quickly, securing the campus and ensuring everyone's safety. After tense hours, students were released to anxious families, the day's trauma etched on every face. The swift response ended the immediate danger, but the emotional aftermath was just beginning. Locked in their classrooms, students clung to their phones as lifelines, frantically texting loved ones in the midst of chaos. Each message sent was a plea for reassurance, a desperate attempt to bridge the distance between fear and hope. The uncertainty was overwhelming. No one knew what was happening beyond their classroom doors, and rumors swirled through group chats and social media, amplifying the anxiety. For many, their phones became the only source of comfort, a way to feel less alone as they waited for news, for safety, for the ordeal to end. 15-year-old Nathan Flores later described the fear and confusion that gripped him and his classmates. He recalled how whispers of what might be happening spread faster than any official information, leaving students to piece together fragments of truth from a sea of speculation. The uncertainty was suffocating, and every sound in the hallway made hearts race. Some students tried to comfort each other, while others sat in stunned silence, their faces etched with worry. The minutes dragged on, each one feeling like an eternity. Outside, a different kind of agony unfolded. Parents gathered behind police tape, their faces tight with worry, desperate for any word about their children. Some clutched their phones, dialing and redialing, hoping for a text or call that would bring relief. Others embraced, sharing tears and whispered prayers, united by fear for their children's safety. The wait was excruciating, every moment stretching the limits of their endurance. The school's phone policy, designed to minimize distractions during the school day, suddenly became a source of distress. As families struggled to connect, the policy felt like a barrier, keeping parents and children apart when they needed each other most. Missed calls and unanswered texts only deepened the sense of helplessness. For many, the inability to reach their loved ones in a moment of crisis was a pain they would not soon forget. When the lockdown finally ended and students were released, the scene was a mix of overwhelming relief and profound grief. Tears flowed freely as parents and children reunited, holding each other tightly, grateful to be safe. Yet, the joy of reunion was shadowed by the heartbreaking reality that a life had been lost. The community's sense of security was shattered, replaced by sorrow and unanswered questions. In the days that followed, the community's fear transformed into a powerful demand for answers and change. Vigils were held, candles flickering in the night as people gathered to mourn and to support one another. Signs demanding accountability and safer schools appeared outside the school gates. Parents, students, and teachers came together at community meetings, determined to ensure that such a tragedy would never happen again. Students and parents are now calling for a deeper, more honest conversation about school safety. They are sharing their stories at school board meetings, raising their voices in the media, and organizing to demand real change. Their message is clear. The safety of children must come before all else, and the community must work together to find solutions that protect every student. United in grief and determination, the voices of students and parents are now a force for action. Their courage and solidarity are driving a movement for safer schools, ensuring that the pain of this tragedy will not be forgotten and that it will inspire lasting change for generations to come. City and school leaders responded swiftly, offering condolences and support. Superintendent Thea Andrade called the stabbing a senseless tragedy and promised resources for healing. Police Chief Matt Giordano praised the school safety officers' actions and assured a thorough investigation. State and city officials pledged to review and strengthen safety protocols. These statements offer comfort, but the community expects real change, not just words. The message is clear: support, investigate, and work together to prevent another tragedy. Maryvale High had invested in security, school resource officers, advanced weapons detection, and strict phone policies. The SRO program, reinstated in 2023, proved vital during the crisis. The weapons detection system, designed to catch firearms and large knives, was in place. Yet, a pair of scissors, a common classroom tool, became a deadly weapon. The tragedy highlights the limits of even the best security measures. Policies meant to protect and focus students, like phone restrictions, are now under scrutiny. This incident forces a re-examination of what true school safety requires. The stabbing has sparked tough questions about security and communication. Parents wonder how a weapon slipped past detection and why they couldn't reach their children during lockdown. The phone policy, intended for focus, became a barrier in a crisis. Students felt left in the dark, fueling anxiety and fear. The community is demanding better screening, clearer communication, and more flexible policies during emergencies. These questions aren't about blame, they're about learning and improving. Maryvale must now address these concerns to rebuild trust and safety. The physical danger has passed, but emotional wounds remain. The district quickly shifted to virtual classes, prioritizing mental health over academics. Grief counselors and mental health professionals are available for students, staff, and parents. Healing requires active support and ongoing resources, not just a return to normal. The school's commitment to emotional well-being will be crucial in the months ahead. No one should have to face this trauma alone. As shock fades, Maryvale faces the challenge of healing together. Safe spaces for open conversations about grief and fear are essential. Transparent communication and community involvement will help restore trust. Memorials and vigils honor the victim and unite the community in shared sorrow. Healing is a collective journey, supporting each other, remembering the lost, and learning from tragedy. The goal isn't to forget, but to grow stronger and safer. Through compassion and collaboration, Maryvale can begin to mend. The tragedy at Maryvale is a stark reminder that school safety is an ongoing mission. In the aftermath of such heartbreaking events, communities are left grappling with grief, searching for answers, and yearning for change. The pain felt by students, teachers, and families echoes far beyond the school walls, touching every corner of our society. It is a call to action, a plea to ensure that no child, no educator, and no parent ever has to endure such loss again. School safety is not just about installing security systems or locking doors. It's about building a culture of empathy, conflict resolution, and support that permeates every classroom and hallway. When students feel seen, heard, and valued, they are more likely to reach out for help and less likely to feel isolated. Teachers and staff play a crucial role in fostering this environment, guiding students through challenges and helping them develop the skills to resolve conflicts peacefully. Early intervention, open communication, and accessible mental health resources are as vital as physical security measures. When schools prioritize mental well-being, they create a foundation for trust and resilience. Programs that encourage students to share their concerns, whether through suggestion boxes, counseling sessions, or peer support groups, can make a profound difference. These resources help identify issues before they escalate, offering support to those who need it most. We must address the root causes of violence and support students before crises erupt. This means investing in mentorship programs, anti-bullying initiatives, and opportunities for students to build positive relationships with peers and adults. By nurturing a sense of belonging and purpose, we can help students navigate difficult emotions and make healthier choices. The safety of our schools reflects the health of our society. When we invest in our schools, we invest in our future. It takes a collective effort, parents, educators, law enforcement, and community members working together, to create an environment where every child feels protected and empowered to learn. Let this loss drive a renewed commitment to protecting every child. Let it inspire us to listen more closely, to act more swiftly, and to care more deeply for one another. The memory of those we have lost must fuel our determination to make meaningful changes, both big and small, in our schools and communities. We owe it to the student we lost, and to every student, to turn grief into meaningful action. By coming together, we can transform sorrow into hope, and hope into progress. Every step we take toward safer schools is a step toward a brighter, more compassionate future for all. The pursuit of safer schools must never end. It is a responsibility we all share, and a promise we must keep, for today's students and for generations yet to come.